Hi there, Phil Smy coming to you again with another book review. This week I'm going to talk about one of the most dangerous men in America. Yes, it's James Altucher, and Choose Yourself for Wealth. Yes, I think James Altucher is a dangerous man, and I think that this book, Choose Yourself for Wealth, is a very dangerous book. Hardcover. And I don't say these things lightly, and I don't actually say them as a joke. Because Altucher, in this book, says the following things. Don't go to college. Don't buy a car. Don't buy a house. Don't put too much money in the stock market. Quit your job. And those things are scary, and I'm not exaggerating. I think probably the most scary thing is I actually totally agree with him, with some caveats. And that's what I want to talk about in this book. Why is Altucher saying all of these things? Because I think, for a certain segment of the population, it's the right approach. The thing about books like this is that it's not for everybody. And this is where the dangerous part comes in. If the wrong people take Altucher's advice, and he openly says this in the book as well, but if the wrong people take this advice, I honestly think they're going to be ruined.
Typos are ruining my life.
Because Altucher's advice, these top 5 things about not going to college, not buying a house, etc., etc., that's simply the opening gambit in this chess game of life, And if you don't follow through, which most people don't, think diets and gym memberships, and if you don't follow through, you're going to be in deep doo-doo. Altucher steadfastly believes, I think, that the American dream has harmed a great number of people and made a few people wealthy along the way out of that suffering. Because at every level of the dream, you're being robbed. There's fees associated that you don't understand that are just taking the money away from you, never to return. And this is a bold statement, and this book is full of bold statements, but I think now is the time for bold statements. At the heart of Altucher's argument is the principle that this concept of the ladder that you get on and climb to success is gone. If it was ever there, to be honest.
See, now it's locked in place, okay? So really, you say...
Oh, God, Harold, are you okay?
Actually, I didn't have it locked.
This book opens with some cold hard facts. That housing, college, and medical care have soared at well beyond the rate of inflation and making it deadly for the common man to participate in these things. College tuition in America has gone up 450% in the last 30 years. Medical care up 250% in the last 30 years. And the average family income has gone up maybe 140%. Altucher's point is that a salary won't keep you afloat, and probably even 2 salaries won't keep you afloat if you want to play that game. And the point is to play the new game. This new game requires that you see how everything in life is connected, and it's, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and financial, and you don't chase money and status anymore. If you chase, a better life. What's Altucher's shtick, really? Okay, first thing is, he strongly recommends the entrepreneurial path. He doesn't believe in working for anybody else.
And as for this job, well, not that I have a choice, but fuck it, I quit.
Everyone, he claims, is an entrepreneur. The only skills you need to be an entrepreneur are the ability to fail, an ability to have ideas and to sell those ideas, the courage to execute on those ideas, and to be persistent so even as you fail, you learn and move on to the next adventure. But of course, not everybody wants to do that. Another quote is, if somebody insists they need to be in prison even though the door is unlocked, who is he to argue? To be successful, all you need is ideas. Lots of ideas. Altucher believes that we are now in a culture, an economy of ideas. Altucher's biggest suggestion is really this thing to become a source, a font of ideas. And he has a daily practice that he talks about where he says, write 10 ideas a day. And you don't need to focus on them being good. You need to do this to build up this idea muscle, you know. And as he says, practice doesn't make perfect, practice makes permanent. And you write down these ideas. It's not top 10 list, you know, of people you'd like to date or whatever. It's ideas. And then what's the first step towards doing the idea? And it sounds kind of simple. It's not. I've been doing it now for a couple of weeks, and it's not simple, but it is powerful. And it gets your brain thinking in a different way. In the book, he offers up some types of lists you can make, like 10 types of blog posts you could create, 10 ways to improve Amazon, 10 things you learned yesterday, this idea. It's very, very helpful, and one of the core principles I think really works in the book. The book covers lots of things. How to sell, how to be a leader, how to be a better public speaker. And the book's kind of all over the place. And it's not just even about entrepreneurism. Altucher himself has a long and checkered history in the financial sector, and he offers some great advice about investing in the book. Funnily enough, his advice that he lays out is the process that I've been following pretty much for the last almost 10 years with great success myself. And one of the things he says to do is to look at trends, and he talks about, there's two important pillars of trends. One thing is that all things end. So there's always going to be a replacement. And innovation takes place nonstop. So always look for innovation. And he gives a list of trends to follow even in the book. There's many reasons that this book works, not least of which is because Altucher's voice, his writing voice, is very well honed, very approachable with his kind of disarming, I'm a bit of a screw-up persona that he has. And his writing is highly conversational. You do feel like you're in the room with him or just watching him riff, And he has had many careers at very high levels, in finance, in media. He has done a lot despite his very disarming and self-deprecating references to himself. And so he actually does speak from experience. Sometimes I think he lays on the self-deprecation, the poor me, too much. Because let's face it, he's a pretty successful guy. And he's blunt about his opinions. And I think, like I said before, now is a time for bluntness. I highly recommend the book. This one right here. I got it directly from the man himself by subscribing to something. And he sent me the book all the way to Japan, hardcover. Not many people do that. So kudos for that. He has another book before this called Choose Yourself. This one is Choose Yourself Guide to Wealth, by the way, in case I didn't make it totally clear. The other one is called Choose Yourself. That's more about his daily routine. I haven't read that one, but I recommend this one regardless, if you've read that or not. From what I understand, they cover kind of different areas. And this one is about building a business and building your life and kind of embracing this change and a new way of living in the commercial world. I think it's totally valid and highly recommended, but it's important to remember that this book is written by an American, kind of an uber-American really, an American for Americans, and living outside of the States, not even being American, incredible, not even American, me. And things are different out here on the outside of the wall. And I think you have to take that with a grain of salt as well. You have to really look at your situation. For instance, college is not the crazy expensive thing in a lot of the world that it is in America. Medical care, of course, as well. But I think the business culture and this commerce culture that we're in right now is kind of proliferating out from America. And really, if you follow this book, I think you're going to be on the front of that wave, which is always a good thing. It's the trend, right? I hope you like these reviews. Please subscribe. There's going to be a subscribe button somewhere. I try and do a book review a week. I've got a series every weekend. And another video coming up. I'm going to probably be doing 3 videos a week if you're ready for that. We'll see you soon. Thanks.